So,
Wow.
yeah, which is not a lot of fun to do when I'm as sick as I am. But
No.
oh well,
Uh,
it happens. We got to push
that
through.
happens.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
actually took 2 days off last week. It was, which is pretty rare for me, but it was just a cold. I had to take 2 days
I was
off.
going
I
to
couldn't
say, do you
believe
have
it.
COVID or is it just a cold?
Well, the two tests I took said I didn't have COVID, so I'm assuming I didn't, but I
Yeah.
haven't had it yet. So,
Oh,
and
wow. That's
yeah,
impressive.
or if I had it, I didn't know I had it.
Right.
You
Right.
don't
Yeah.
know, but
I was just tired when I got it. My daughter gave it to
yeah.
us. I was just tired.
Well, this really wiped me out, but it wasn't COVID like symptoms, so I'm guessing just cold, but
Yeah.
no fun. But oh well, it happens. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna jump in, um, and sorry, one sec. The DiMaggio and Beta Group, got it. What is the DiMaggio and Beta Group? DiMaggio and Beta Group. DiMaggio and Beta Group.
Or just DiMaggio Beta Group is better. Don't say and, just do DiMaggio Beta Group. If you're writing it out.
Yeah, and I'll stumble across that anyway. So it's a good point. That's a good one. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Turn off my phone. There we go. All right. Today on the show, our guest is Debbi DiMaggio with Corcoran in San Francisco and LA. She's also leader of the DiMaggio Beta Group. She's been practicing real estate for a long time, also as an author, a coach. Let me tell you more about Debbi. Now, Debbi DiMaggio is a top 1.5. I'm going to start that one over. Debbi DiMaggio is a top 1.5% producer of all agents nationwide. I wanted to make sure I got that right because that is a truly impressive statistic. She has been an author 4 times over. She is a mother of 2, a wife, and a philanthropist. Her love of meeting people, travel, design, and experiencing new cultures has driven her success in real estate and beyond. Debbi aspires to inspire by living her purpose, and passion is committed to helping her clients through their first, second, or third transaction, or when mentoring others on their own paths to greatness. She's also a full-time realtor and a partner in a real estate firm, Corcoran Icon Properties, and the marketing director and coach for the company's 80 agents. Debbi loves helping others achieve their dreams, whether you're clients or other agents, helping expand her business into coaching. She coaches agents. Debbi also will guide you towards achieving your goals while holding yourself accountable, keeping you on track, which is easier said than done. And as I'm thinking about this out loud and reading Debbi's bio, I can't think of too many real estate coaches who have been practicing for 35 years on top of coaching. That is really a huge asset. So please welcome. Oh, and let's give Debbi's tagline first. Follow your passion, live your purpose. I want to give a plug for Debbi's books before she comes on. By the way, we will have links to all of her books in the show notes. You can find them anywhere books are sold, Amazon in particular. But her books are called The Art of Real Estate, Real Estate Rules, 52 Ways to Achieve Success in Real Estate, Contained Beauty, and during COVID, she wrote Beauty at Any Age because age is just an attitude. Follow Debbi at her website, Debbi, and that's Debbi, no E, Debbi DiMaggio, DiMaggio. .org, DebbiDiMaggio.org. We will have a link to that in the show notes. Also, follow her on Instagram at Debbi DiMaggio. We'll have a link to that too. Debbi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much.
Well, you have done a lot in your career, and there's a lot to celebrate there. And our audience, I hope they're impressed because I'm impressed. And I talk to top producers almost every day on this show. And I get so excited when I get to talk to somebody like you, who's not only a successful agent, but also a successful business owner, mentor, author, and now coach. So I'm a huge fan of. I think they and a mother on top of it and a wife. It's that expression: if you want something done, give it to a busy mom, right? They just get things done. So you've gotten a lot done in your career, and now your son is working with you on the team, which is really cool. I think that is really, really neat. But I would like to go all the way back to the beginning of your career because people like to hear the origin story. Where did you come from? How did you get into real estate? Why real estate? So can you walk us through sort of how that happened?
I can. So when I was growing up, uh, people would always ask you, what do you want to do when you grow up? I had no idea what I wanted to do. I figured one day it would hit me. The only thing I knew I did not want to do was real estate. It, my dad he used to buy and sell. He was always on the phone. He was managing his investors, very different. I'm in residential sales for over 35 years,
Sure.
but it was real estate nonetheless. He was on the phone. There was no cell phones at that time. He was always
Right.
tethered to his phone. He was always working. I'm like, no, we couldn't go on proper vacations because he always had a
Right.
deal in the works. So for as long as I can remember, until I was probably 27 when I finally started real estate, the only thing I didn't want to do all my life was real estate. And then I realized when I was working for other people, I worked in magazines and did some different things. Some days I'd have a job for a week, a day, 2 weeks. I said, this isn't for me. I know there's something out there. And that's why I talk about people living their passion is so important. I kept trying, and thankfully I had parents who allowed me to continue to try. And I realized I can't have a boss. I don't want someone telling me what to do. I like to work really hard, and I don't want to work really hard and not be compensated for that. So it all kind of populated into real estate, which started out in rentals in San Francisco. And a friend of mine, Adam, and my partner said, Debbie would be rentals. And this is the time before Craigslist, 19 it was 1993, 94, no, 1990 about. We were in San Francisco. There was no Craigslist. So you would, as a rental agent, you'd call on owners, property managers in San Francisco, these big, gorgeous buildings. So you'd call to get a listing. Like one building might have, 20 listings, and you'd continue to call, and then you would work with people to get them into rentals. And it was so lucrative and I loved it. But I will tell you, when I was 25, and this is where my coaching, when I go back and how I've written my coaching programs, when I was 25, I was so lost. I was living in LA. I loved LA, but I wasn't liking what I was doing. My fiance at the time says, get your real estate license, which I did, but I hated being home. So I was super depressed, and I wrote out what I like to do. I didn't know what it was. I said, I love working with people. I love meeting new people. I love helping people. I love doing something different every day. I don't want to be tethered to a desk. And I like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so that translated a couple years later into this call of a friend saying, Debbie should get into rentals with me. And real estate has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I get to meet people all the time of all different nationalities, of all different backgrounds, because I'm from a little town called Piedmont, California. We're near Oakland and near Berkeley, and it's only 10,000 people and 4,000 homes. So I grew up there. We raised our kids there. My parents still live there. So when I say meeting other people, I get so excited. As soon as someone walks through the open house, I'm like, oh, where are you from? They'll say where they're from now, or no, or where did you grow up? And there's always some crazy long story. And I'm like, I'm from Piedmont. I grew up in Piedmont. I went to Cal. And anyway, so that's kind of where tip of the iceberg, where it started. And I've been practicing real estate for over 35 years, and I still love it. And I still get to meet new people every day.
It's an incredible story. As a coach, I think it would be fun to kind of dive right in to what's going on today. And obviously, San Francisco has a unique market as well, that isn't always tracking the same as other markets here in the country. But I suspect it's happening in San Francisco too. Of course, you're dealing with inventory issues. I mean, San Francisco always has inventory issues. That's part of the charm of it, but it also makes it incredibly challenging for people to build careers there. But you mentor agents, you coach agents, you've written books helping agents. What are you telling your clients, agents right now who are struggling a bit? Maybe they're not getting as many listings. There's not as many buyers flooding the market. What are you telling them to do now just to sort of stay engaged and busy?
Yeah, sure. So that kind of taps into my coaching program called Foundation for Success. And it's just basic things. Okay, first of all, you can't sit at home waiting for your phone to ring. You've got to be out there engaging and connecting. So the first thing I say is and we hire a new agent. I say, you have to be in the office, sit next to Adam. Adam's very structured. He likes to be behind his desk. He's there. That's where he works. For me, I'm up in our loft at our house right now. I'll be in the car working. I'll pull over and work. I'll be, checking on one of our properties that we're preparing for market. I'll just stand outside. I'll be on the phone. So with the new agents, I sit down in front of Adam. Adam will be talking to 80 agents over the time. People call him with issues and problems. You can hear how he is speaking and what kinds of problems arise. You will never know until you hear it. And there's always different kinds of issues that come up. But when you're sitting there and listening to him, so that's the first thing. Be in, be present. The other
Yeah.
thing is, so when you're there, and an agent like myself, we carry a lot of listings. We're very busy, Adam and I, Chase, very grateful for that. But if you're there and I see you're there and I get a buyer that for one of my listings and I don't want to write it, and maybe Adam's writing for another person, I'll say, hey, Dre, do you want this buyer? I mean, because they're there. So
Right.
being present, that is my number
Yes.
one. Be present. The
I,
other,
you know,
yeah,
years
go ahead.
before, I'm sorry, Debbie, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's so funny. Before I started this podcast, I'm from not a little town, but a smaller town in Illinois called Peoria. And I interviewed somebody who was like the seventh best realtor there just because he was a friend of a friend, because that's where I grew up. And so this is all before I had this show. And actually was the impetus for this building this show. And I said to him, Brian is his name. I said, hey, Brian, why is it that out of the 1,000 realtors in the area, why do you think you're number seven? He goes, well, I'm not smarter than anybody or everybody, and I'm certainly not more skilled than everybody. But he goes, I show up on time to the office, and he goes, you'd be shocked the people that produce. And this is a long time ago, and not everyone works in an office anymore. But if he would say the people that produce are there at like 8 or 9 a.m. And they start working and they actually start doing things. And I go, well, yeah, there's more to it than that. And he goes, not really. He goes, it's a lot about showing up and just doing the work. And I know that's not always the most exciting thing to hear, but it is the truth, right? So
The
it's about
truth, and
discipline.
that's the thing. There's no science to it. You don't have to be super smart. You have to show up, be present, be kind, communicate. I mean, I just did a deal with an agent and he said, Debbie, do you know I'm new? And I said, no. I said, I want to commend you. I go, you have been so communicative. It's been amazing. We had a few little things, but because we jumped off of a text, off of an email, had a voice to voice conversation. We knew what was happening. We knew the insurance was a problem, with all our fires here in California. So, but we talked through it. So
Right.
and I said, you come to the office, I want to hire you. I mean, he was so good. And there are so many agents who have been around and are not communicative.
Right.
And it's a bummer because it affects the deal. It affects how you're feeling. I mean, yes, you're always stressed with your seller, your buyer, because they're
Of
going
course.
through a big transition. So we're supposed to advocate for them and we're supposed to like make it work. And if you can't get a hold of someone, it's so aggravating. That's also very important. You have to communicate. I can't even tell you how important that is.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I was just thinking as you were talking about the texting versus talking, I was thinking, well, why is it that texting isn't as effective to deal with frustrations and stuff? It's because I don't know why necessarily, but on text, you don't get to discharge that stress as easily, right? You get a sort of a message that maybe is a bump in the road in a transaction, or the other side is doing something weird, and you're like, oh, and you get all frustrated. And as you said, hey, let's chat on the phone. Maybe we can work this out. And you're able to work with another human and actually talk about the frustrations. It doesn't translate as well on text. So I think you're so right that moving away from texting, even just with the co-op broker, the other agent on the other side, get on the phone with them, talk about what's happening.
I'll give you an example of this. Okay. First of all, you really need to know who you're dealing with culturally. we're all different. I'm
Of
100%
course.
Sicilian. Different people have different backgrounds. It's like, then you know where they're coming from, right? You have to know who the person is so you understand. So it's not like a bad thing. It's just that you know where they're coming from, what their upbringing is, how
Sure.
they might react. So that's number one. So we're doing a transaction, and the buyer, this girl, she had just come out of a divorce. She had bought homes before, but her in the Oakland area. Her father lived in LA, completely different markets, Northern and Southern California,
Sure.
completely different. So the agent I was working with wouldn't get on the phone, wouldn't get on the phone. So I didn't want to be mean, but I called her broker, who was a friend of mine, and I said, hey, Vanessa, I just, it's not an issue. I just, if I can communicate with her we would understand what's happening. So when the agent finally called me back, she explained her father's in LA. He's dictating from behind. He's trying to protect her. I said, okay, I get it. I totally get it. I was in LA at the time. We were doing the deal in Oakland, but I was in LA on the phone with her. I remember everywhere I was when I'm talking on the phone. I'm walking down Melrose Place from Alfred's. Anyway, I said, okay, that makes a ton of sense. In LA, they negotiate. Up in Northern California, we get all the disclosures ahead of time, the home inspection, the roof inspection. As the listing agent, we have everything. So when we present it, they know what they're buying. Well, in LA, you go into contract and then the buyer does all that and then they renegotiate. So long and the short of it, once I understood where they were coming from, we were able to move through it. But you
Right.
can't talk about that on a text.
Right. It's yeah. There's too much context. There's too much nuance, and yeah, and there is, it's how we connect to other people is through face to face or voice to voice communication, and a lot of problems get resolved as well just because two people are want to work together to get this deal closed.
Everyone wants
And
the same
so
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
That's a great tip. Where else do you see agents struggling today? Like as far as staying busy, staying active, obviously showing up. You mentioned,
Yep.
being communicative. What are some things that agents can do today to make sure they're staying top of mind in their sphere? So when their sphere is ready to move, obviously they hopefully choose them.
Well, let me ask you a question. Where do buyers show up? Where do you see buyers?
Yeah. So where do buyers show up? They show up on Zillow. They show
Or
up, digitally. They show up on Zillow. They show up at open houses.
exactly.
Um, yeah.
Okay, let's stop there. Open houses. Why, as a new agent or an agent looking to build their business because of a slower market, why aren't you creating opportunities for yourself? How hard is it to say, Debbie, you've got 3 listings. Can I hold it open on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? People love to look at houses. So one of our agents, Chris Nava, I love this story, new agent. First thing he did before he started with us, his partner bought him our book, The Art of Real Estate. He had read the book before he came to us. He said, you tell me what to do, I'm going to do it. He did it and more. He was a flight attendant full time. He would get home like at midnight on a Friday. He would do one of our open houses on Saturday and one on Sunday. And he would show property on Saturday. Was he complaining or was he saying, I don't have things to do? He was so busy. I will tell you, he is so successful now. And he sat right in front of Adam for probably the first 5 years.
I love that. I love that. And you are so right. I love it when I hear, and I don't hear it as much anymore, but years ago I would hear things like open houses don't work anymore. And I'm like, well, everyone I ever interview on this show says they still work. And what else are you doing? It's such a great opportunity to just learn how to talk to people about real estate. If nothing else, talk to buyers, and learning how to present a property. And so for anyone listening who is like, I don't have any listings, what you do is you ingratiate yourself with some of the top producers in your office, like Debbie, and you go, Debbie, please, 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 can I do this? And if you, show enough initiative, Debbie's going to be like, sure, that makes Debbie look good to the seller as well. It also is, it's a win for Debbie and it's a win for you. And you get some leads out of it too.
Yep. So not only are you meeting potential buyers, you're meeting people who are just looking because they like, everyone loves design. So they might just be in there. And then it might occur to them, wow, that person was so nice to me. I'm not moving, but I know someone who would really benefit by Debbie's service. And then you have the other one, sellers. You're in there meeting sellers. One of our agents was doing an open house. She ended up losing the listing because the woman wasn't, she was not, her price point was what she wanted too much, but she also wanted to give it to her new son-in-law. So,
Sure.
but she lost it after being on the market, but she ended up meeting a seller and now she's listing another home. If she didn't give herself the opportunity for people to meet her, and she's not a Piedmont agent, so there's no way they would have found her if she wasn't sitting at her open house.
It's incredible. We have about 800 agents here at our firm, and I could not bang the drum harder saying, please ask another agent to sit in open house in an area that you want to specialize in. And you know,
Exactly.
they might not be able to say yes. It just kind of depends on the seller, obviously. But most cases they will say yes. If you
You want
show,
their
you know,
house exposed. I mean, you want to expose your home to potential people. The other thing is, if when homes, there's right now in our market, some homes are selling in multiple offers still, and others are taking some time. So we had a house that took a long time to sell, and we had it open every weekend. We not only gave opportunity to other agents in our office because we're partners, we are partners in our firm. We
sure.
were able to give our agents opportunities. We were able to meet new people, new agents, new people from the community we might not have met before. Now, remember, as a realtor, you're kind of a little bit like a celebrity. People see you because we market ourselves. You know, you've got your photo here and there and everywhere. So you have to give those people the opportunity, the public, to see you, touch you, feel you. And if you're not there, they don't, they don't really know how to, sometimes yes, they'll pick up the phone sometimes, but it makes it better if they can find a connection with you by meeting you.
Yeah, that is such a great tip. It's amazing. And by the way, we should mention, because I always wait till the end, and then not everyone makes it to the end of every episode, so I'm sort of remiss if I don't do this now. But by the way, if you are a realtor in either the Bay Area or working in Los Angeles, and you are looking to maybe explore what other teams or other firms have to offer, Debbie, I mean, we ran through her bio at the beginning. It's really impressive, but they are looking to expand their team. They're with Corcoran. They're awesome. 35 years experience, top 1.5% producer. Debbie and her team are awesome. So if you have interest, the best place to learn about all things Debbie is you go to her website, debbidimaggio.com or .org rather. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. But she is also taking on new agents.
Perfect. Thank you.
And by the way, if you are not in those areas, but you want to be coached by somebody who is a 35-year top producer, I think that's a pretty good idea. So you can also reach out to Debbie too. So anyone listening could benefit, from reaching out to Debbie. And you have lots of other programs as well and books. So check out all things Debbie at her website. So Debbie, I'm curious too of, we talked about open houses, sitting open houses as a great idea. I would love to talk about marketing because I think the landscape of marketing has shifted. Obviously, different age groups require different sort of processes. I grew up, on the telephone talking to my friends. That has gone away. Nobody does that anymore. But yeah, yeah. So it's funny, but people have to be marketed to in sort of ever expanding ways. How are you seeing the most success, or where are you seeing opportunities with marketing, and how are you reaching out to find new clients?
Yeah. So now there's all ages, right? You've got young people, you've got middle, you've got older people. So let's start with the older people. A lot of them aren't on email to receive a newsletter. They might not, they're probably not on social media a whole lot. So you still have to do some of that postcard marketing. You do have to add that in because recently we did a postcard mailing. We don't do it often enough, but we did. And someone got that postcard and called me and said, I love the way you marketed that home. So you do have to do that. That's important too. And maybe you don't do it quite as every month. Maybe you do it every quarter or something. But that's really important to do postcard marketing. And those older people, I will tell you, they come in with that postcard. 3 of them. They come in and they're like I don't know who I am. Like, I'm here. I got your postcard.
And so
So
do you recommend for postcard marketing to, in an area that you've just sold, maybe also
yeah.
blanket? Is that sort of how or are you doing it a different way?
So I have 2 areas that I really like to market that am really networked in from. So Piedmont is one of them, where I grew up, where our kids grew up. So I really like, it's my area. So I really, and I, everything about it. So, and I know how to connect people. Someone needed to get into a preschool. Adam made a call, got him into the preschool. They had tried for years and couldn't get into the preschool. So we're really hyper connected. Then we moved up to a little community up the hill, 2 minutes away, Hiller Highlands. And it's nice because it's this community of 6 HOAs, and we overlook San Francisco Bay. And so it's like a really nice finite area to market. So we've had 6 on our little teeny street. We've had 6 listings and we've sold
Wow.
some of them 2 and 3 times on our street,
Amazing.
not even in the
Amazing.
community. So it makes it a really defined area. But yes, wherever you are, if you're in Chicago and you're like, I'm going to do the gold market to the Gold Coast or whatever it is, or like if you're in an area with high rises like Chicago, do one whole building, like really try
Yes.
to take advantage of that. So yes, so postcard marketing, newsletters through eBlast is important. You will get some unsubscribes, and I'm sensitive, so it hurts my feelings, but but it's important because then other people will be like, oh my God, thank you. Or I missed the last one. Who was the dog walker you recommended? So I'm trying to make it, I'm really into marketing, and I'm the marketing director as well of our 80 agents. So I'm very like font sensitive. I can't even watch TV without noticing fonts. I could see your font in the back, Keeping Real podcast. I mean, I just notice things like
Yeah.
that. So right now I'm working with someone to do a new newsletter with not as detailed because my other ones tended to be too long. So trying to condense it and just make it, very clean and fun. So newsletters are very important because people do get those and they do like some of the information. Don't make it too long. Handwritten notes are super important. So what I literally just started doing at my open houses, I have a little card with Chase and Adam and I, and then Corcoran on the back and my contact information. So as I was sitting at the open house, I was like, thank you so much. And I don't put the address. I just thank you so much for stopping by. Let me know if you'd like more information on this house or any others in the neighborhood. And then I can send them off with that card. If I, instead of giving them my business card, I can give them that. And it has a little personal note, but also writing personal notes just in general, it could be anything, try to connect with your people, past clients, congratulations, or it's been a year, happy anniversary, or there's a million reasons to, send someone a note, or I thought you might be
Yeah.
interested in this restaurant. It's really fabulous, but just keeping in contact with people. I know I'm talking a lot, but
No, this is all good. Great.
you like right now I'm in the midst of putting my top 1,000 people. And as you go through it, you realize, God, I really do know all these people. But don't forget, it's not just buyers and sellers or family or friends. It's the other one, my most beloved way to get business. Other agents, any agent listening to this show, reach out to me. I love to pay a 25% referral fee. I love to refer you someone. I was in the Hamptons 2 weeks ago, referring another Corcoran agent. I didn't have to go to make a personal introduction, but it's a friend of mine and she was selling her home. So I went, and then I had just met Mala in Nashville at our conference. We were both on the marketing panel. And so I said, I'm coming out. I'm going to introduce you to my friend who's selling her house in Southampton. So I got to connect them, and I'm going to get a referral fee. I got to spend a week in the Hamptons, and I got to, really solidify our bond with the agent who I only met briefly when we were in Nashville at our Corcoran conference. So no matter where in the world a realtor is, I want to know them because I might have a need to refer someone in Chicago. I can't even think of an agent I know in Chicago, actually. So
Hear that, Chicago agents? Opportunity knocks. Opportunity because look, Debbie works in an area that people move into or move out of. I mean, obviously there's people that have lived in the Bay Area their whole life as well, but a lot of people aspire to living in New York, San Francisco, places like that. So not everyone's from there, and sometimes people don't always stay there. So, and obviously in the tech space, it's going to attract a lot of people moving in and out as well. So yeah, great opportunity there to really, so for everyone listening, think about, where do the people in your community who aren't born and raised, where do they come from? Is there some patterns there that we can start to explore? And where do they leave maybe once they retire? Where do they go? Another opportunity to look for some patterns, and then reach out to other agents. If everyone leaves and goes and retires down in South Florida, well, there you go. Start making some introductions. Start meeting people in South Florida who obviously would be happy to get those referrals, and you get that 25% referral fee. So brilliant idea. That is really something we don't talk enough about on the show, is referrals in
Yeah.
that way from other agents. So I appreciate you saying that. So I guess it also, playing nice in the sandbox. I want to talk
Yes.
about. Can we talk about the importance of that? And meaning, when you're doing a transaction, even if you're working against another agent, you are still cooperating or attempting to cooperate to close the deal. How important is that?
Well, first of all, change the language. You're not working against, you're working with. So when we go into escrow with an agent on the other side, listing agent, selling agent, you're working together. It's not about you, it's about your clients. So you're working together in collaboration to make it go through as smoothly as possible for everyone. It's going to be easier on you. I mean, we get wrapped into every deal emotionally. You can't help it because you're helping someone and they're stressed. So it's the agents, we're there to work. So you want to make sure you're communicative, you're kind. Now, not only when you're doing the deal, it's important, but that's of course one very important. But when you're up against five other agents and they know that Debbie and Adam are easy to work with, they communicate, they're going to get the deal done. Do you know how many times we've won a deal or got a counter because they didn't want to work with so and so, they wanted to work with us? So that benefits our client. And then it benefits the agent because she knows he or she is not going to be suffering with another agent who's not doesn't have those qualities.
Yeah, that is such an important point, is really having a reputation of being easy to work with. And you just said it yourself. Sometimes highest and best doesn't win the deal, because they go, "Oh, that's a person that is difficult to work with. Maybe it won't close. I don't." I've and again, you want the reputation of, "Oh, thank God, it's an offer from Debbie." That's what you want to see.
Exactly. And then the other one is, and then just being working with other realtors. So if other realtors in the community, they will call on you. Do you have something coming up? Or I have this coming up. You'll get leads ahead of time saying, "Oh, I've got this property coming up for 2.5 million. It hasn't hit the market yet." And you'll get these calls. I remember one of our agents said, "Well, I want to be like you guys. I want to be the cream of the crop where I get the call from all the other top agents." So it's a benefit to your clients by just being a human being and being kind and communicative, and it really pays you back because people want to work with you, and it helps your clients get the deal.
You said something, and it was just a language thing, but I think it's very impactful. You said something very important. I mistakenly said, when you're working against an agent. I'm glad you corrected me, because, and you didn't just say working on a deal with somebody. You said a very specific phrase. You're working with another agent. So, and I'm thinking about this when I talk to other agents, and I go, "Oh, have you ever done a deal with so and so?" We talk about it as, "I did a deal with so and so," but I very rarely hear somebody say, "I worked with another agent." And working with sort of presupposes that there's some sort of harmony there and some sort of team collaborative effort. And even if it's just a little language thing, I think that is a really great way to sort of trick the mind into thinking this is a more easy relationship and friendly relationship by saying, oh, I'm currently working with so and so at a different firm to help close this deal. I think language really does impact how we feel about things.
Oh yeah. I mean, the language and the positivity. I mean, because in your mind it's like you're seeing something go smoothly as opposed to like if I named an agent that I know is difficult, I'm like, oh, you just go, oh, it's going to be so tough, or she's going to come back and renegotiate even though she already signed off. And it's like, and then you kind of are stuck and you have to deal with it. Right. So it's just, I can't say enough about just working together and collaboration is so key. Let me tell you a quick little story. New agent just came to work with us, and this is just about your intuition and following your gut. So she came into the office and she was like, I met this lady the other day. She's like 87 and she was so nice. And she's like, and it's in, this area. She told me the area, you won't know it. But anyway, she's in this area that's not so great. She's like, but she was so nice and she loved me. We just really hit it off. And she invited me to this event, and I'm like, great. And she's just really just like so excited. She's talking about it. And I know, because I have an 87-year-old friend, Velma, and I call it driving Miss Velma. And I take her out to lunch and she doesn't have anyone. And
Yeah.
I feel so good just being with her. She's leaving to go out of town tomorrow. So when she gets back, we'll go have lunch. And I'm busy, but I always try to make time for Velma, and I have a good time, and it makes me feel good. And I know it makes her feel good. Sometimes I have her to my open houses just to just be around people. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
Drea is really excited. She's sharing the story. And then she says, I went home and I told my husband, and he said, why would you want to go out there? Why would you want to do anything out in that area? I said, oh my God. I'm going to cry. I said, stop right there. I don't need to hear any more. When you were telling me you were lit up, you were so excited.
Yeah.
You do not know if she has some other friend who's going to end up giving you a referral because she's like talking about how much she loves you, and it's going to be right smack in your neighborhood where you want to sell a house. You have no idea if the gardener's going to have a referral. You have no idea who is going to have that referral. But that's not the point. The point is she lit up. When you light up and you're being your authentic self and you're feeling good, that's when you start to attract. I said, it's not like for like. It's not because if I do this, I'm going to get this. It's like, because I did this, I just got a listing the other day at the open house because I was so happy and I was radiating, and I just attracted that positive energy. So you just don't, like for like. It's just, you don't know where it's going to come from. That's how I've always done my business. I've never like, oh, I got this listing, I'm only going to spend $1,000, not $5,000 on the marketing because it's not going to be worth it for this deal. It doesn't matter. When you have a really beautiful listing, market the heck out of it, because now you have all those assets for all of your marketing and social media, which we haven't even touched on, and all of that. So you go with your gut, and just watching her radiate was great. And I knew
And
exactly what you're feeling.
we sort of discard older people in this in our society here, and we don't give them the attention that they need or deserve. And a lot of
Exactly.
them are lonely, and a lot of them are looking for some companionship. And even if nothing else comes of it, but you made somebody smile a little bit and feel a little bit less alone, you're going to feel better about that, even if it doesn't translate into
Yeah.
a deal. But odds are, I know that I would only refer people that I think care about me in any sort of field. Like I would
Exactly.
only refer my accountant if I thought my accountant really cares about my finances and cares about me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't want to refer my accountant. So you can demonstrate care to people, and you're talking about doing exactly that. Let's talk social media.
Yeah.
So tell us how do you approach social media?
Yes. So, well, the reason I'm actually here with you today is because I hired Kim as a coach, because when we started our own firm, Highland Partners, in 2008, 2009, during the recession. People said, don't you know there's a recession, and why are you starting a company? And we said, because we wouldn't have an opportunity at another time. So we just trudged through. So I knew nothing about social media in 08, 09. And so I took it upon myself to learn everything. So in the process, I was a lot of hit and misses. So I created lots of different accounts and was practicing. And so I had too many. And then with my Instagram, I have like 5 Instagrams, the different personalities: Debbi DiMaggio storyteller, DiMaggio Better Real Estate, Debbi DiMaggio LA, beauty at any age. I had so many. So I was like, I have to work with Kim to hone it down. So I'm really working on getting everything down under Debbi DiMaggio. But we had to do social media because we weren't going to start a company in '09 with, advertising on a billboard. We weren't going to be calling people. Social media was the way to immediately ignite who we were. So we started on that. And then over the years, I've refined and now I'm much better at it. But now it's just, there's so much that comes after us. But it is super important because everyone's on it. And I was asking my friend the other day, I go, you don't watch TV? She's like, no, I'm doing Sudoku and my husband's on Reels, right? So it's like people are on it all the time. And so you have to be where the people are. So, and again, that's one segment. There's other segments, but you can easily take your I train on social media for the agents, of course, and anyone who's looking to sell a product, business, or brand. And then you can share that across LinkedIn, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter. You can TikTok, another one I talk about called Alignable. You can take the same post and put it on all platforms because everyone's on a different platform. Like I go to LinkedIn to verify if someone's real or not. And if they're not on LinkedIn, I'm like, I don't think if it's an agent, let's say, I'm like, yeah, you don't really have a LinkedIn presence. So how could you be serving your listings? Because, you're not really out there. So, there's a lot to it, but yes, social media is super important. You want to be in front of business people. You want to be in front of, potential buyers that are on social media or realtors. I had someone in Utah. Someone said, my boss said, oh, you should follow Debbi DiMaggio. She's really good at social media. And I don't even know who the boss was. And somehow I met this woman and I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea. And my social media is nowhere near some of the people that you interview, but it works, it works that people do get to know you. You become familiar in front of them.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your coaching program, Foundation for Success. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I have 5 platforms that I coach on, and we've touched upon them right now. So the important thing is we want to educate, communicate, and inspire. That's what we have to do as a realtor. People want to see design, so you might post design and all this different stuff. So the 5 marketing platforms: social media, get out in front of your audience; email, sphere of influence, e-blast, you want to connect with people; newsletters, note cards, postcards, so touch points. You want to touch them in a more personal way. Websites, blogs, editorial contributions, so we can educate and inspire. So let me just give you a little example about that. People are like, well, how do I do that? What do I do? So you want to write a blog. You can post the blog across all social media. Then you can put it on your website. And then it's a place. So we just did one where my son was working with some first-time home buyers, and the buyers got so overwhelmed about the process. So I broke it down and I put it on my website. So now when we have a first-time home buyer, we can go to the link and share the link. So it's a holding place for all that information that we give time and time again to buyers or sellers. Well, for us sellers, we're always working with sellers to bring their house to market. So I have from lived in to stage to sell. And I have just everything we do to get that house ready for market. I even have YouTube videos on that. And then the last one: people, podcasts, partnerships, and collaboration. So I've done in the past a lot of panel discussions where I bring in maybe 5 different people, maybe a financial planner, a 1031 specialist, a feng shui expert, and then myself, and then maybe a contractor. And then we do like a Q&A, and you're getting in front of people, you're adding value, you're giving them information, and they get to see you doing what you do best. You're giving back to them and educating them. So those are the 5 different principles. And I always say, don't get overwhelmed. I'll teach you how to go through all of them.
And if you're interested in signing up for Foundations for Success. Debbie's got an entire coaching program for you, as she just outlined. You can visit DebbiDiMaggio.org, link to that in the show notes, and learn more about that. Yeah, you said so much there, and I was thinking about this idea of doing these panel discussions. And so, I think most of us have heard of first time home buyer seminars, but what you said was really cool, because you could bring in all these experts from different fields, like a financial advisor, maybe, you know, an accountant, maybe, and various tangentially related sort of services, a loan officer, of course, and appraiser, attorney, whatever. And you all share the stage, and you invite your clients, they invite their clients, and you
Yep.
sort of cross pollinate a little bit.
Yep. So you're working with professionals is really wonderful. And that's another thing that we started called Workshop Wednesday, where we have different professionals come in and speak to our agents can come, the community can come. We market it to everyone just to bring people into a room, and it's a
Oh.
benefit for everyone. And it's called Workshop Wednesday. And that's one of the ways we started in 2009, by bringing people into the office, by offering lunch and a speaker.
I love that. That is such a great idea. Now, for those of you that don't work in an office, you can take this idea to a company. So if you know people that work at a company, bring something like this to them and say, "Hey, I have this program I do for businesses where I bring in experts, all different types of fields, where I can start to do some educational stuff for anyone who wants to sit in. Maybe you can." Let me use the conference room once a month for an hour. These are things, if you have an office, you can do them in house, or you can go places and do them. And I think that is a heck of a good idea.
Yeah, it's fun. We have one tomorrow.
Exciting. Well, Debbie, this has been awesome. I want everybody to do a couple of things. I want you to visit DebbiDiMaggio.org, and that's DEBBI, and then DiMaggio, DIMAGGIO.org. You can learn about all things Debbie, her coaching, her books. Please go to Amazon. We have links to that in the show notes, and check out her books and her various programs and coaching. And if you are an agent in the LA or San Francisco Bay Area, and you're like, I'm not really getting the attention I deserve or I need at my firm, reach out to Debbie. Her team is growing and expanding. And as she said at the very beginning, oh, by the way, maybe she can help you with some of your activity. So reach out to her, go to her website and do that. And also, if you are somebody who has clients that move in and out of LA or the San Francisco Bay Area, reach out to Debbie as well. She would love to partner with you, and you guys could trade clients back and forth. So, Debbie, thank you so much for being on the show. You were a fantastic guest. We learned so much, and really everything you said in this interview was actionable. So I really applaud you for that. Thank you. And on behalf of Debbie and myself, we want to thank our audience for sticking around to the very end and supporting our show. Please tell a friend, tell one other agent about the show. We would really appreciate it. Everyone listening, that will help us get in front of more people. And on behalf of myself and the audience, we want to thank Debbie for all of her time today. She is amazing. She doesn't have time to do things like this, but she showed up anyway, and we applaud her for that. So please stay in touch with Debbie. You can follow her on social media as well. Debbi DiMaggio will have that for all of her social channel stuff in the show notes. Debbie, thanks again, and we will see everybody on the next episode. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you so much. Thank you.